My parents skipped my son's funeral, then demanded his $720,000 trust for my sister's wedding. I don't even know where to start with this because my heart feels like it's been cracked open twice over. Once when my son passed, and now again with the way my family has treated me. I feel like I'm living in some twisted alternate reality where people I thought would protect me at my lowest turned around and gutted me instead. My son was 7 years old when we lost him. It was sudden and cruel. I won't go into details about how because even writing this now makes me feel like my chest is being crushed, but what matters is he was gone in the blink of an eye. One minute, he was laughing in the back seat talking about wanting ice cream after soccer practice, and the next he was gone. I remember screaming so loud in the hospital that the nurses had to pull me away because I wouldn't stop holding his little hand. The days that followed were a blur. Planning a funeral for your own child is a kind of pain I wouldn't wish on the worst person I know. Every decision felt impossible. Picking out the smallest casket they had. Choosing flowers that didn't feel right because nothing ever could. Writing words that no parent should ever have to say in front of friends and family. I begged my parents to be there for me. They lived 2 hours away, and they always claimed to be devoted grandparents. They spoiled my son with toys every birthday and holiday. They bragged to their friends about how smart he was. He loved them too, and always got excited when he knew we were driving over to their house. I told them the date of the funeral and even arranged a hotel for them nearby. I thought at least I wouldn't have to worry about logistics when my whole world had already fallen apart. The day of the funeral came, and I stood there with my husband clinging to me like a lifeline. My best friend was on one side holding tissues. My coworkers and neighbors filled the pews. And the entire time, I kept glancing back expecting to see my parents walk in. I kept thinking maybe they were just late. Maybe traffic held them up. But they never came. Not to the service. Not to the burial. Not to the reception afterward, where people tried to comfort me through their own tears. I kept waiting, and they never showed. When I finally got them on the phone days later, my mom sounded annoyed, almost defensive. She said they couldn't handle seeing him like that, and that funerals were too depressing. My dad chimed in saying they wanted to remember him the way he was and that they didn't want to ruin their own mental health by putting themselves through it. I stood there in my kitchen clutching the phone so tight my knuckles went white because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My child was gone, and they couldn't show up for me. For him. I cried for days over that. More than I already was. Because losing my son felt like losing a limb, and realizing my parents didn't have my back felt like losing the rest of my body. I tried to forgive them, even though it tore me apart. I told myself maybe grief hits people differently. Maybe they couldn't face it. Maybe in some twisted way, they thought they were protecting themselves. I don't know. I tried to move forward and put all my energy into surviving day by day. Then, about 2 months later, my sister called me. She's always been the golden child in the family. She's the youngest, always got the spotlight, and my parents have funded every big milestone she's had from college to buying her first condo. She said she was engaged, and my parents were thrilled. They were already planning this massive wedding for her in the spring. I said congratulations even though it hurt to imagine celebrations so soon after burying my son. But I bit my tongue because I didn't want to be the bitter sister. Not long after that, my parents invited me to their house. I thought maybe they finally wanted to apologize or maybe just talk about my son and acknowledge the hole in my life. Instead, I sat down at their dining table and my mom pulled out paperwork. They wanted to talk about the trust fund my son had. When he was born, my husband's parents, who are fairly well off, set up a trust in his name. They put money into it over the years for his future. By the time he passed, with interest and contributions, it had grown to about $720,000. That money was meant for his education, for a home one day, for whatever he needed to build a life. When he died, the trust legally rolled to me as the parent. My mom looked me dead in the eye and said that since my son no longer needed it, I should transfer it to my sister to cover her wedding and future home. My dad backed her up, saying it would be a way to bring something positive out of the tragedy. I swear I thought I misheard them at first. Asked if they were serious, and they said yes without blinking. They said my sister deserved a beautiful wedding and that I didn't need the money since I don't have kids anymore. My mom even added that I could always have another child one day and start over. I felt my whole body go cold. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't find words. My husband wasn't there at that moment, but I knew if he had been, he would have flipped the table. I told them that money was my son's legacy, and that if anything I would use it to start a foundation in his name or to donate to causes he cared about, not to fund a giant party. My mom got angry and said I was being selfish and spiteful. My dad said my grief was clouding my judgment and that I should think about the family as a whole. My sister just sat there twirling her engagement ring and didn't say a word. I walked out of their house shaking. I blocked their numbers for a week because I couldn't handle the pressure. When I finally answered again, it was more of the same. Guilt trips. Lectures about family unity. My sister eventually called me crying, saying she really wanted the wedding of her dreams and that our parents were right. I told her I would never in a million years hand over my son's trust. That was the last real conversation we had. Now my family barely speaks to me. My parents have painted me as cold and ungrateful to relatives. They say I'm hoarding money that I don't deserve. A couple cousins have sent me messages saying they don't understand why I'm clinging to it when it could help the living. I don't even know how to respond to that. All I know is that every time I look at that account, I think of my boy. It's not just numbers on a page. It's a symbol of every hope that was poured into him. To give it away for a wedding would feel like erasing him completely. I already lost my son. I can't lose the last piece of him too. And the fact that my own parents can't see that breaks me in ways I didn't think possible. I'm grieving two deaths now. My child, and the parents I thought I had.